remember a couple of years ago, we joined Wolfgang, my friend of many years. And so we thought, well, why don't we make another video? So here we are at beautiful British Columbia with the mountains in the background. Hopefully you can see them. And Wolfgang brought out a couple of, drilling, a rifle. So we'll just talk about these things generally. Wolfgang knows more about this one than I do, so I'll pass it to Wolfgang.
Hi, I have a friend who knows the head purchasing agent for Franconia in Hanover, Germany, and Franconia is like Cabela's. And that guy said, I came across this drilling. Drilling stands for basically for three barrels, two 16-gauge shotgun barrels, and then a 8x56 caliber rifle shot. And this thing was supposedly made in 1904 by then probably quite a famous gun maker. And they have, in case you run out, when you fire your rifle, they have a spare magazine in the shaft, and it just clips like this. So then you can, if you want to shoot the rifle shot, you push this button forward, and then here's a safety on and off, and you pull the first trigger, not the second. And these Germans, they did a claw mount. You can see on the old scope that it wasn't made yesterday. It's an old scope, but it goes in there like this, and it supposedly returns to zero every time you do this. And I haven't seen anything like this in America, but if you want to use this as a shotgun for birds, and then quickly as a rifle for, let's say, wild pigs or so, then you have to be able to use one of these. You can't get a screwdriver out and play with it. So this is this gun. Here, if you look at the barrel, you see they're not much use here in North America, but they might come into their own, especially in California, where they have now a lot of wild boar in the Bishop, California area, and maybe in the eastern part, on the eastern seaboard, I could see that these guns could find a use there. And so if you take it, I take this off one more time, and then it shows you also, you can also fire obviously a shot without the scope. And then this thing here, this iron sight goes up or down. When that's up, the gun barrel is activated. So that's the story about this gun. And the Europeans can find them from time to time. It would be probably pretty hard to find something like this here. And it is a side lock. You can clean the locks from the outside. You see the engraving here on this one, and the whole mechanism for being basically over 100 years old still functions perfectly. So, and then the wood, maybe you can find better wood today, but that's also wood at the time. Here it is, Mike.
Yeah, pretty amazing. They're so remarkably well made. And there seem to be some coming out of Europe in the past year or two. You know, that Zool area, they turned out an awful lot of very fine rifles and shotguns. That's sort of a greener style safety. Maybe I'll set the scope down. The scope's quite clear, by the way. It's old, but somehow very bright.
And here's a bullet size.
Oh yeah, 8x57 R, of course, has a rim. Most of the drillings have a rim, although some of the cartridges that they chamber for don't. I've seen some in 30-06, even the old ones. Here you go. So just sort of in summary, if you can find something like this, It's actually extraordinary that they ever made them, just because of the amount of work. And I was looking at it before we started filming, and everything is so, here I'll show you. It's so well fitted. You know how everybody wants these takedown guns these days, and you can see the complexity. Of course, it has to have proper ejection, proper extraction. I guess this is just an extractor, but everything is just about perfect. And I've handled many of these. Actually, where was it? It was in Vienna at a place called the Arsenal, I think. It's like a big museum. They have the vehicle that the Ferdinand was in when the assassination happened.
Oh, wasn't he in a coach? In a car.
It's just a car, but the bullet holes are still in the doors. And actually, when I was there, well, that's what the sign said. Anyway, when I was there, I was standing on the running board. They didn't even have it barricaded off. And they had, just unbelievable things in there. The armor plating of bunkers, the steel was like this thick, and the shells still made it right through. Anyway.
So just to mention Ferdinand, he was a great hunter. The town where his hunting castle is, the town is called Piste. I've been there, and they have hunts around that place for pheasants, but the castle is full of his trophies, and if you would like to see something like this, remember Piste with a K. So that was a very interesting. It's a very interesting thing to see, with lakes around, ducks, pheasants, animals, wild boar, everything runs around there. It is just fantastic. So that's
it's fantastic. And if you are fortunate and come across one of these or something similar, it's easy to dismiss them because guns that are manufactured these days don't look like this. But just draw to your attention one other feature that I only discovered right now. So Wolfgang showed you already. You push this forward and you'll see the rear sight pop up. Let's say you're not using the scope, and you can set the trigger by pushing that trigger forward. That's a common feature, actually. And then you just touch this, and
it's a hair trigger.
Hair trigger, yeah. And the trigger guard is made out of horn. Some people say buffalo horn. I'm not so sure, but anyway, beautifully made. Most of them, or a lot of them, have a crack in here, but this one is still perfect. And of course, the engraving you probably won't be able to see too well. The engravers are making an effort, but the deer often look like they have they look like a mouse, and these don't look like mice. These look like deer. So maybe people should study how to do that. Oh, there are some pheasants here as well. Anyway, it's a fantastic thing to own. In fact, I'm supposed to go deer hunting, in a few weeks. And I don't have a drilling, actually. I have a combination gun, 7x57R, 16 gauge, and I may take that combination gun. That's a Bockbuchsflint in German, Bockbuchsflint, I don't know. Anyway, you'll know.
Bockbuchs.
And then the single shot is Kipplauf.
Yeah, it's called Bockbuchs.
Okay,
Bockbuchsflinte. And there's a single shot in both shotgun and rifle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so that's the.
We have another one here.
Yeah.
This is a 7mm STW caliber from Cooper in Montana. And the same thing, there is a quick release like this, but it's not called a claw mount. This is
a pivot mount.
Pivot mount. And it's fabulous. It always returns to zero. And if it doesn't, I have an excuse why I missed the game, which doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And I'm going to take that on this Sunday to mountain mountain sheep hunting in British Columbia. It's a perfect rifle. It has a little palm swell here. The wood is outstanding from the Caucasian mountains, and it's balanced right, and it has a fluted barrel. I think it's a 26 or it's a 26-inch barrel, and I have to say I had more luck with shooting 160 grain bullets than 140 grain bullets. But 140 grain is fine. And then there's people that say 180 grain, but they don't fit in this. You need a different action for that because they don't really fit in this. And otherwise, this rifle it's just the wood is nice, the barrel is wonderful, and the mount is also this is also perfect. You don't see that much on these kind of mounts on American guns.
No.
And I don't quite understand why they don't. Leupold has something, but you still have to turn stuff here. You don't have to get involved. And it's so much easier for transportation. And you don't get this scope knocked out of alignment while you're transporting it when it's not attached to here, and it's quite nice. So there's something to be learned from the Europeans or copied from them. It's not that we can't make it here, we just don't make it here.
No, that's a good point.
Quite often we're sitting there in campfires in the evening and don't understand why one has a $3,000 gun with a $30 scope mount. Even if you have an expensive scope, the mounts don't. Anyway, they're not and these scope mounts are not that expensive. The mounts itself are around $200 now. I don't know. Everything has gone up in the last few years, but then it has to be perfectly attached by somebody who knows how to do that, and that seems to be a bit of an issue here. But there's enough gunsmiths that would do it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's a great rig.
But you can't get it done by Walmart.
No, this is true.
Even Cabela's, they have the people, but you would have to make an appointment, and then these Europeans, they do it all the time, so they get they become experts at it.
Yeah. If you're looking for that type of scope mount, which probably is the most convenient still, New England Custom Guns has all the parts.
Yes.
You can punch them in, NECG. I forget the name of the fellow there. I've dealt with him for years. Well, the whole crew there is excellent. And as Wolfgang said, it's not that expensive. And then you have really the best, fastest return to zero that I know of. Is that safe to say? I think so.
It needs to return to zero is what the word is.
Yeah. Some people say it's a heavy mount system. And I mean,
not heavy at all.
I don't think so.
This whole gun weighs about, with a scope, let's say 10 pounds.
Which is about right. I mean, it's unless you really want to get slapped around by recoil.
The scope has its own weight, and everybody else's scope weighs the same. And so, there's something to be learned from the Europeans, something not. It's a great little gun that I kind of been using for, let's say, 10 years. 10 years, and after the initial sighting in, and I do that once every year, but I have to say I've never really missed anything with this gun, and it's great. And the 7mm STW, they claim they have this better, that better. It's about as good as it gets for long range shooting. you can go 400 or 500 yards. You can probably shoot further, but I normally don't. And but it seems to work all the time. I shot a black bear with it. I shot a moose with it. Many deer. I shot a goat with it. I just haven't shot our bighorn sheep with it, and that's supposed to happen next Monday.
That's good.
I hope the sheep knows the program, so it's going to be there, and we're going to
waiting for you.
Waiting for me. That is the idea.
I hope so. That's good. Yeah, and I'm glad Wolfgang mentioned that 7 STW, because all these new cartridges, and you write me all kinds of things, and I do my best to read and answer the correspondence. All these new cartridges, and they're excellent as well, but the 7 STW predated them, and there's no moss on this cartridge. Fantastic. You can look up the trajectory. They like making smaller cartridges now, and maybe that's good for the gun market. I understand that, but this really is all you need. And Cooper, unfortunately, not in Montana anymore.
I think they moved to Texas.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah, me neither. Somebody sent me a link, and I clicked on it, and it looked like they might be getting back into production, but I couldn't. Yeah. I wanted actually to order a straight grip rifle from them. Yeah. But no luck yet. So hopefully they'll be back. But there are other rifles. You know this. Yeah. So yeah.
So you were saying about shorter, longer. I have to say, this is a fairly long bullet or cartridge, and it slides in beautiful. There is one made by Winchester, and I have that too. It's called Winchester Short Magnum, or WSM, and it doesn't slide in like this because the angle is steeper, whereas this, through its length, never had a problem. So, and then there's all these new PRGs, and there's all 6.8 Western. I don't know what the 6.8 Western, you have to have a certain bullet, because with one bullet it doesn't shoot in the same direction all the time. Mm-hmm. And so this stuff here is simple. It has a little bit more power than the 7mm Remington Magnum. Mm-hmm. And I think it's basically an extended version of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost a universal long-range cartridge. And just touching on what Wolfgang was saying, I used to know gunsmiths and people who were familiar with guns going back a lot further than I would know. And all of these things were experimented with in 1890 and 1905. They tried shorter cartridges, higher intensity cartridges, longer bullets, faster rates of twist. This actually is nothing new. But with time, things are forgotten, and then they're remembered again, and then advertised as something new. But they're not really new. And the 30-06 7x57, the case is long for a reason. The feeding is excellent. And they could have gone with a shorter cartridge case in 1902. They didn't, because they saw that what Wolfgang said, the angle, the wobble, it's good in some ways, but not good in other ways. Anyway, this one seems to do it all for Wolfgang and for the people that hang on to them. Excellent. Well, that was a wonderful day. I hope you liked the video. Always a great conversation with Wolfgang. Probably should have gotten together more over the years. He really is a wealth of knowledge, and not just about guns. We filmed more on that same day, and we actually have a little bit more to share with you on this shotgun, which is the Darne shotgun, D-A-R-N-E, made in France. Quite interesting. Have a look at this mechanism. Instead of breaking open, you know, the typical tipping design for a shotgun. This one slides shut. It's one of my favorite side-by-side shotguns. Anyway, Wolfgang and I looked at that. And yeah, just generally speaking, I think people maybe don't mention enough that it's just really nice to get together with other people that are interested in guns or interested in anything. Could be golf, could be whatever. A nice thing about hunting is that, you know, you have the guns as the catalyst and you end up in remote places in the mountains or elsewhere around campfires. It's kind of a neat thing, or at least to me, it's a neat thing. And thanks for being on the channel, and also for enduring our production values. We just film naturally. When Wolfgang and I got together, we had some idea maybe we would film something, but it was more or less just impromptu, so just let things unfold as they do. Please subscribe to the channel, it's important, and I guess that about covers it. So until next time, take care, and we'll see you again.